You're listening to the following on Daily Podcast out here in India. I'm Neil Manthorp and I'll be joined by double Ashes winner Steve Harmison and former England fast bowler Darren Gough to look back at the second Test match between India and England, which India won to level the series, the 106-run victory in Visakhapatnam. We'll discuss all the big talking points from the fourth day, the final day, and all of the 3 days which preceded it. We'll get exclusive reaction from the England camp, and Chetan Narula will look ahead to next week's third Test in Rajkot, with Virat Kohli and KL Rahul likely to return for that match. So plenty to come over the next 30 minutes or so. You're listening to Following On. Darren Gough, there weren't very many slow patches in this Test match, but then again there haven't been very many slow patches in any passages of play in any Test matches that England have played in the last couple of years. The entertainment flowed as thick and as fast as the runs and the wickets did, and India were very, very good value for their victory, despite losing, not having Virat Kohli available for selection, losing KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja. They were under pressure. England put them under massive pressure, and they responded. They've won a game by 106 runs, and deservedly so.
Yeah, they were under pressure coming into this day, weren't they? I mean, we all dared to dream the impossible. Could it be possible? 399 needed to win on a day 4 pitch, but there was no real turn. I think that's what surprised me, really. Coming into day 4 in India, there was more likely to keep low off the bowling of Mukesh or Bumrah, but a quite magnificent performance from Bumrah in this Test match to pick up 9 wickets in a win and to level the series at 1-1. But what we've had so far in 2 Test matches is 2 teams trying to work each other out. I think India know that England will believe they can win from any situation. India have to handle the pressure. They were better today. Rohit Sharma made better decisions as a captain. Their plans were better to some of the England batters. But I'll tell you what, we're in for a proper series here. 5 Test matches. After 2, it's 1-1. And it could go any way this series. It really, really could.
So many individual highlights. The man of the match, I think rightly, was Yashasvi Jaiswal, the opener, for his brilliant 209 on the first day and the second day, in fact. And had it not been for his double 100, in an innings in which the second highest score was 34, it would have been a very different looking Test match. But England have done terrifically to bounce back and make the second highest score of the match with 292. It defies the trend of the Vizag Stadium, in which scores descend through the 4 innings, and so a resilient performance from England. They tried, they believed 399 was possible. Goughy, they now go to Abu Dhabi. They decamp to Abu Dhabi, so it's far too early to look ahead and contemplate changes for the third Test match. They've got another week of rest and recuperation and preparation to come for them. And it's just lovely, isn't it, to have 5 Test matches and have a big squad and play a rotation, and who knows what's to come in 8 days.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I think they surprised everyone, England, but the spinners, so inexperienced, have done really well. I mean, who would have thought after that first ball from Tom Hartley, but he would come back and take the wickets he's taken in this Test series so far? He's battered really, really well down the order. I think Bashir's come in and done a decent job. I would expect, if Jack Leach is fit, to come back into the side and Joe Root take up the off-spinning duties. Harry Brook, will he come back? 2 Tests he's been out for. I know they said he was going to be out for the series, but you never know. Will he come back? It's been pretty quiet, so I would doubt he will. But England can just go to Abu Dhabi now, reassess the situation, be proud of what they've done in those first 2 Test matches. India, without doubt, were under pressure today. They were scared. They weren't 100% sure they were going to have the skills to deliver. And that's purely because England are playing a brand of cricket they're not used to seeing against them in their home conditions. And you could tell with some of the field settings and the captaincy. But when it comes down to it, when you've got a bowler like a Jasprit Bumrah in your armoury, it makes a big, big difference. 9 wickets. The pitch offered just enough for him. He's an absolute genius. He's got the full package. Pace, the angles he uses when he's bowling, the slower ball, Yorker, bouncer, he's got the lot. So that was the difference as well.
Yeah, Jasprit Bumrah 9 for 91 match haul. Just a reminder, England bowled out on the 4th day for 292 after a brilliant 73 from Zach Crawley, but they lost 5 wickets in the morning session, which seriously undermined their hopes of pursuing what would have been a record in India of 399 for victory. 36 apiece for Ben Foakes and Tom Hartley gave them late hope, but it was all too much, too much, too late, really, for England. Alongside me, Steve Harmison, as always, making assiduous notes and lots of things to talk about. Jasprit Bumrah, no doubt, will be on the tip of your tongue. Harmy, he was a genius and an exhibition of fast bowling in spin-friendly conditions. Jamie Anderson, also in bursts, was outstanding. Where do you want to start? You've got a whole page of notes.
Yeah, Bumrah, for me, I said it was the first thing I've wrote on the top of it was a fantastic test match, and I think that, again, we talk about test match cricket dying. We've had 2 test matches over the course of the last, 8 days of test match cricket, where test match cricket's not dying. There's nowhere near dying. The crowds have come out and shown that. I think the skill level of the players have come out and shown that. I think both individually and collectively, England might think first innings runs, which is always important out in this part of the world. First innings runs is huge, and to only get just under 260, I think that's possibly where they could look and think that's how we've lost the game by 100 runs. But I think forget the result in the end of it. I am so proud of this England cricket team, the way they've gone about their business over the course of these last 2 test matches. They were brilliant in Hyderabad. The inexperience of the bowling unit that's come into this from a young spin bowler's point of view, really excites me about the future being bright for England. I thought Zach Crawley in both innings was as good as I've seen Zach Crawley bat from a balance and timing point of view, and a little bit of luck, an element of luck when things go your way, and it makes a huge amount of difference. And I think there's a few umpires' call decisions have probably gone more, the odd one's gone probably in India's favour at crucial times, and that's not a whinge about the umpires or decisions or they are. India deserve to win this test match, but I think when you come out to this part of the world, especially with the inexperienced bowling attack that England have had and a few injuries that they've got, I did say before the series, everything would have to go their way. Every umpire's call would have to go their way. And there's a couple in this game that just haven't gone the way of the away side. And I think, that's so important when you do come to this area. So all in all, brilliant. Really was a great advert for Test match cricket. Jasprit Bumrah, the skill level with a new ball. At the start, his next spell was going to be dangerous, and then his spell when he got to the new ball reversing, and that was always going to be the one that finished the match off. And as it panned out, it did. And I'm so pleased to be here watching Anderson and Bumrah bowl on what was a relatively flat wicket.
Goughy, I need to ask you about England's strategy of the 3 spinners and 1 seamer, because before this test match began, it was clear that it was not going to be spinning sideways from day one. It was never going to be a raging turner. So England's philosophy of playing 3 and 3.5 spinners with Joe Root and 1 seamer seems to lie in something beyond just the pitch. And they have, of course, Mark Wood, Ollie Robinson and Gus Atkinson. And I wonder whether, whatever the pitch looks like in Rajkot, whether they might actually just say, we need a second seamer.
Yeah, I mean, we've been very fortunate, haven't we, to have an unbelievable all-rounder in Ben Stokes. Before that, we had Andrew Flintoff. So 2 terrific cricketers who can change things with bat and ball and in the field. And it just goes to show, when you've got someone like Ben Stokes' ability to not being able to bowl because he's just come back from knee surgery, we do miss him. That would have been the obvious, easy selection, because he would have been able to play as that second seamer, bowl a few overs with a new ball, and then bowl when it reverse swings. Unfortunately, he's not going to be fit this series, and it puts us in a bit of a dilemma. I think the history tells you, but we've always played seamers and played 2 spinners, but the opposition tend to play 3. So I think they've gone into this series trying to do things a little bit different. We've put 3 spinners out there. We had 4 in Hyderabad. We've had 4 again, haven't we, with Joe Root? No,
yeah.
3 with Joe Root, isn't it? 4 with Joe Root. Yeah, so we've had 4 spinners. Yeah, and if they think Joe can do a good job, a holding job, take the new ball, I think you're right. I think somehow we need, especially if the surface is going to be like this one we've just had, where seamers can play a part. Jimmy Anderson was excellent, played a part. Bumrah for India played a huge part. So we've got some good seamers there. Ollie Robinson's got an amazing test record. You've got Gus Atkinson, who can bowl short spells and bowl quick spells. If you want him to bowl 20 odd overs, you won't be able to bowl at 90 miles an hour plus. No one can. No one can. But he's quick through the air, short spells, and he could do a job. Ollie, if you want somebody a bit more like Jimmy, but I don't think that is the point. Or you've got Mark Wood, who we know short spells, being able to throw it down there at 90 miles an hour plus, can make a difference. And Woody can bat. Woody can slug you 20, 30, 40. No problem at all.
Yeah, I think we missed the second seamer, but it's like anything else, man. As you come to this part of the world and you go, can we play 12? Can we play 13? Because you do need so many different options, and that's always the conundrum when Ben Stokes can't bowl and nobody in your top 6 can bowl other than Joe Root, and you're already picking three spinners. But I think if they get to Rajkot, and what we've had is I think we've had 2 decent test match wickets in Hyderabad and Visakhapatnam. If we get to Rajkot and we play on a wicket, something similar to what we've played on here, I think England could do with sacrificing one of the spin options, having Joe as the 3rd spinner and playing Mark Wood. If we, just for instance, fast forward it 8 days and we come to Rajkot and we play on a wicket very, very similar to that, I think I'd be playing Mark Wood and Jimmy Anderson. Because I think the point of difference of the quick bowler, the express bowler, I'm with Goughy. I don't see the point of picking Robinson and Anderson, and I don't think Atkinson's as quick, anywhere near as quick as what Wood is. So for me, Woody would play along with Jimmy.
And finally from you, Goughy, a settled top 7 for England. I don't think there's going to be any changes contemplated there. A special word for Zach Crawley, 76 and 73. He's looking better and better technically. He turned 26 a couple of days ago, and he's becoming a lot more hit than miss, isn't he? He's becoming more consistent, more solidly technical.
I think it's about a partnership, and I think Zach Crawley and Ben Duckett have been excellent at the top of the innings for a while now for England. They've got off to a flyer in every single innings, but Zach Crawley this game was superb. The way he played Bumrah, who bowled beautifully the whole match. He waited for that over pitch one. That big stride he's got. He's a big tall man, is Zach. He's got that big bat in his hand, the grey nick. It's a beauty. And he just has to get bat and ball, and it flies away for 4. He plays some wonderful, wonderful drives. Army mentioned his balance at the crease, the way he doesn't fall over. He plays it off his legs at hip high as well. He's a fantastic talent, and we want to see that average rise. I think he only averages the low 30s, but he's a top player.
Right, Goughy, we have got the post-match presentation taking place on the field down below us, and we're hopeful to get some of the captains, to hear from some of the captains. Harsha Bhogle, as part of our commentary team on talkSPORT, is conducting the post-match interviews. We'll have Andrew McKenna speaking to Ben Stokes a little bit later on the show, hopefully. But first up, Harsha Bhogle. In fact, let's listen to what Harsha and Ben have to say.
Ben, you've come back from a deficit, but was 143 a little too many?
No, I think coming into this last innings, we were had full belief in ourselves that we could go and chase that down. The way in which we go about sort of taking on challenges like that is sort of what we're about, and just sort of the number of runs that we needed to get was just sort of another thing for us to try and chase down. And in moments like that in games when you've got scoreboard pressure, a lot of runs to chase down, that's where your process and the way in which we know that we get the best out of ourselves as individuals really comes out. And I thought today, in which we applied ourselves and really tried to put India bowling attack under a lot of pressure, was great. Unfortunately, we didn't end up on the right side of the result. Congrats to India. Thought they played a fantastic game, and again, another great game to be a part of.
Is there almost a directive to the batters to play a certain way, or do you leave it to them? Because two fine players, Crawley batted a little differently, Root batted a little differently. Is it up to them, or is there a suggestion from the captain?
No, there's no suggestion whatsoever about how to go out and play. It's go out and play how you best feel at the given time. You know, we knew the task ahead. We knew we had to get 330 runs today, and everyone in that dressing room there is a quality player, and they are good enough to be able to go out there, assess the sort of the conditions or the situation, and also assess how they're feeling and how they best feel to go about getting those runs.
You've got a very inexperienced trio of spinners. Was that a challenge, speaking to them all the time, trying to get the best out of them? They haven't been in these situations too often.
No, I mean, it wasn't a challenge whatsoever. I absolutely loved it. I think, you know, looking at Tom, Bash and Rayan, you know, 5 or 6 test matches between them, to put in the performance that they did yesterday, to you know, obviously without Joe and Jimmy having bowled a very long spell at the start of the day, I thought what they were able to produce in terms of effort and output was incredible. You know, they showed a lot of maturity, a lot of skill beyond their years and experience, and it's something I'm very proud of as a captain.
And Jimmy Anderson's going to bowl for another 30 years, isn't he?
Oh, he's amazing. You know, and as well, like, you look at Jimmy Anderson in the way that Jasprit Bumrah bowled this week. I think you're watching two guys who are incredibly skillful bowlers, and you know, watching those two, albeit Jasprit on the opposite side, you've got to sometimes hold your hands up and just say, wow, what a player, and you know, Jimmy is that for us.
Thank you, Ben. Your style of play brings people into the stadiums, and that's great fun for Test cricket.
Thanks very much, Asha.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ben Stokes, captain of England, playing wonderful Test cricket, aren't they? Now the Dream 11 game changer of the match. The winner gets a trophy and a cheque of 1 lakh, presented by Mr. Prajapat. The award goes to Yashasvi Jaiswal. That magnificent double century in the first innings won him 274 fantasy points, and hopefully we'll keep seeing batting like that from this young man for many years to come. Well played, Yashasvi Jaiswal. Now the SBI Life Apne Liye Apno Ke Liye award. The winner gets a trophy and a cheque of 1 lakh. It's presented by Mr. Rajiv Srivastav for his all-round performance on the field and with the bat. It goes to Shubman Gill. A century in the second innings, 4 catches, lovely safe hands in the slips for Shubman Gill. Coming up next then, the Attenborough Smart Saver of the match. The winner gets a trophy and a cheque of 1 lakh to be presented by Mr. D. Vedanayagam. The award goes for overall fielding brilliance on the pitch. Once again to a wicket-keeper, he was outstanding, Ben Foakes. The captain, Ben Stokes, will receive the award on his behalf. Some of his catches staying low to the keepers, to the bowlers rather, were absolutely fantastic. So Ben Foakes is our Attenborough Smart Saver of the match award winner. Now the Camper Great Indian Strike of the match. A trophy and a cheque of 1 lakh presented by Mr. P.R.K. Rao. For outstanding drives on the field, it goes to Yashasvi Jaiswal. 22 boundaries for Yashasvi Jaiswal in this game. That entitles him to the Camper Great Indian Strike of the match. And now it's my very happy job to invite the winning captain, Rohit Sharma. Rohit, it must be such a luxury to call upon Jasprit Bumrah in the form like that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, look, you know, he's a champion player for us. It's been a while, you know, that he's doing the job for the team. But yeah, I mean, when you win a game like that, you know, you got to look at the overall performance as well. We were good with the bat, and then obviously we know that, you know, winning a test match, you know, in these kind of conditions is not going to be easy. We wanted our bowlers to step up, and they did that.
Yep. You watch this, your young opening partner, very closely. 200 in the first innings. How good is? What's your take on Yashasvi Jaiswal?
No, looks. I mean, looks like a very good player. Understands his game really well. You know, he's got a long way to go. Of course, you know, he's just coming to this side now, and every opportunity he's trying to make the most of it. That was an exceptional knock, what he did in the first day. Long way to go. Like I said, he's got a lot to offer to the to our team, and I hope he stays quite humble and focuses on what is needed for the team.
Little bit more from the batting. Would you like a little bit more?
Yeah, the wicket was really good to bat on. That's where, if I have to point anything, a lot of the batters got the start but didn't convert into a big score, and something that we really need to look into. But again, having said that, I do understand, they're very young, they're very new to this form of the game. So obviously, it'll take some time for us. It's important from our side to give them confidence, and this win obviously will give them a lot of confidence, and just to go out there and play freely.
As captain, what pleased you the most about this result?
I think very, very proud of such a young squad in terms of the test matches that they've played, to come up against a team like that, who won the first test match, and then to come out and play like that for us, very, very positive. Like I said, a lot of the guys are quite young in terms of playing this form of the game for us. So it'll take some time, obviously, to be absolutely spot on, but you got to give it to them a little more time, a little more freedom as well, and that is something that we are constantly talking in the changing room, that we want these guys to have some time in the middle, go and play freely without any pressure.
1-1 going to the third test. What a series you're having. We're enjoying watching it. I'm sure you're enjoying playing it too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we know we were up against a good challenge. The last couple of years, England have been playing really good cricket. So we know that it was not going to be an easy series for us. To win this game, quite pleasing. But again, we know the series is not ended here. With 3 more to go, obviously we'll keep our check on it, and we'll make sure that we do most of the things right.
You've got a week. You can put your feet up and then get back to Rajkot. Well played.
Yes,
here.
Thank you.
Indian captain Rohit Sharma there. We could barely had the energy to muster a smile, let alone any sort of sense of triumph or celebration. Harmy, he's looked like a boxer who'd gone 12 rounds, and he didn't want to overstate anything, did he? He didn't want to overplay Jaiswal's innings. Said he still has a long way to go. If he goes as far as we think he might, he'll have 10,000 runs.
Yeah, he played it down, the role of Jaiswal, but wow, what an innings it was. Saini, obviously the learning has a lot to come. He hasn't getting player of the match though, Jaiswal. Jasprit Bumrah's getting player of the match, so I was a little bit surprised by that. But Jaiswal's gonna take some trophies home, wasn't he? They kept giving him trophies. He's going to need an excess baggage allowance like talkSPORT's going on back to England. So, no, joking aside, I thought Jaiswal was brilliant. I thought Rohit Sharma sounded as though he was on the losing side there rather than on the winning side. And some different comments to what I thought there would be. I thought he would have built his team up and pumped the tyres up of 1 or 2 of the players, but possibly is that an Indian captain thinking, we've won a test match, but we haven't been at our best.
Yeah, well, Jasprit Bumrah, it's not like he doesn't deserve an accolade. 9 for 91. I also thought that Jaiswal's innings was possibly the bigger difference between the two teams. Chetan Narula, what did you think? Never mind the man of the match award. I mean, for once, I wouldn't have minded if they'd split it, but overall, a very, very good performance given the circumstances India were in coming into this match.
Yeah, I mean, like I said on day one, I did think India were a bit short in terms of the runs they scored. I mean, Jaiswal, absolutely the big difference. If you look at England's second innings right now, no batsman apart from Crawley crossed 40. And that was the case for India's top order, certainly. And Yashasvi Jaiswal went to score a double 100, so that was a big differentiator between the two sides. But I think after scoring 396 on that pitch, and this pitch has been really good for batting throughout this game, I thought Jasprit Bumrah was exceptional. It was just a magical spell that he bowled on day 2, and yeah, I think you either have to be a batter or bowler to be able to judge that. I mean, I know Harmy said that Bumrah should win the man of the match. I'm neither, not a test batter, not a test bowler, so I can't really pick between the two. But for now, I would definitely say yes, Jaiswal being the differentiator in the first innings with those big runs. Going ahead, of course, like Harmy mentioned, India probably not at their best in terms of performances. I think individual performances stood out, but not at their best in terms of the personnel. And with hopes of Virat Kohli and Lokesh Rahul both coming back for the third test match, I think India will be able to put a stronger foot forward.
And just quickly, obviously Kohli walks straight back into the team. Do
Yeah.
KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja, if they're fit?
Jadeja, I don't think he's going to be fit for Rajkot. That's what I'm hearing. But if Lokesh Rahul is fit, I think Shreyas Iyer will be worried about his spot.
Shubman Gill, though, has
I think that debate is over now. Thankfully, that debate is over because, like I said earlier too, that is a huge investment India has made into Gill for the next foreseeable future.
Well, Harmy, we've got many hours of travel ahead of us to contemplate changes. You just did touch on the three spinner, one seamer policy. Do you think, irrespective of the pitch, that England will look to play a second seamer?
I think they might. I really think they might, and I think it depends on Jack Leach's fitness. I think if Jack Leach is fit, then England might go in with Jack Leach, probably Tom Hartley, and then Joe Root, because of the experience that Leach brings you back. I think because they had two very inexperienced spin bowlers, or three very inexperienced spin bowlers, I think to just play two of them, I think that would have been difficult for the two that actually played. So I think that is probably the reason why they went with three and just went with one seam bowler. But I think in the cold light of day, when Ben gets to Rajkot and he looks at the surface, and if the surface is anywhere near like the two we've had so far, I think he might think about going in with Jack Leach's experience as one of the spinners, Tom Hartley, who gives you the all-round package, even though I think Shoaib Bashir bowled very, very impressively, and I think he's probably a better spin bowler than Tom Hartley, but the packages are obviously a hell of a lot different with the fielding than with the batting. So I think I'd go with Jack Leach, Tom Hartley and Joe Root, and then you'd have, for me, I would have Jimmy Anderson and Mark Wood. I think Mark Wood would give me the point of difference that pace-wise Jasprit Bumrah's give to England, so to India. So I think that would be the way I would be thinking about my team selection going into what will be a very, very eagerly awaited third test match with the series nicely poised at 1-1.
We're going to hear imminently from Ben Stokes speaking to our very own Andrew McKenna, who's over at the post-match presentation. He's speaking to Ben now. I wanted to ask you again about Abu Dhabi and this policy that you and I were both far from convinced about in the build-up to the series. Not just in the build-up, but I think our eyebrows were even further raised by the fact that they were always planning to go back to Abu Dhabi twice after this test match and again after the fourth between the fifth test. But you've toured, you've been on long tours, you know how demanding it can be. It's all very well saying, well, have a day off and stay in your hotel room, but it's still a hotel room, and it's wearing, it wears you down, it tires you down, and for decades and decades, for over half a century, touring teams have come to India and found it revealing and fascinating and challenging and exhausting. So the idea of actually going back to Abu Dhabi, where there is no media demand, no spotlight, you can be anonymous really, and they can go and play golf as they enjoy so much and really refresh and come back with having had 7 solid days away from the media, away from the spotlight, away from the constant demands of India. It does make sense, doesn't it?
It makes perfect sense. I never had a problem with this Abu Dhabi trip. My problem was with the last Abu Dhabi trip, the first one, the one that was giving them no real Indian time preparation from. And this is what I was getting at when I said what I said on the following on and with you in the studio. It was about three young spin bowlers have not played in India before, not bowled in India for, in just 3 days, that was the only thing I had an issue with. I'd never had an issue with how they were going to prepare, because I knew they were going to work hard. This is a fit side. This is a mentally strong side. This is a side that doesn't give anything away when it comes to chasing the ball to the boundary or diving full length. We've seen that. We've heard from Paul Collin with that coming. But on tours I've been on, I don't think I've ever gone a 10-day, 9-day gap without a game. There's always been a game on. There's always been, you might have been a senior bowler, played in the second test match, but then there was a 3-day game going on for the lads who aren't playing or haven't been able to play in between. Them days have long gone. So I've never had a problem with this Abu Dhabi trip. The only problem I had was the first one. I think this one makes a huge amount of sense. Golf is great. I love playing golf, but even when I play cricket, I love playing. The golf part of it makes people relax, as well as they spend 4 hours on your feet, and the professional cricketers who has to spend 6 and 7 hours on their feet. So that's not an issue. Maybe it's not a good idea to do it at 11 o'clock in the midday sun, and all the way through. But I think creating an environment is what McCullum and Stokes do, and I think going off away from the spotlight makes a huge amount of sense. And then they can relax. Then they can, be themselves away from the media and the goldfish bowlers, what Indian tours become. So I'd never had a problem with this Abu Dhabi trip or the next one if they do go back between the 4th and the 5th test match. The only issue I had on the preparation side was the initial time they had there and less time they had here. But as it stands and as it's gone, I was proved wrong, because they've came here, hit the ground running. I don't think the young bowlers have bowled massive sort of great lines and lengths, but I still don't think being out here for a week earlier would have made a difference. I think the reasons why they have been a little bit inconsistent out here is more down to the fact that they're in the infancy of their first class career, never mind their test match career. But I think the innocence of youth, I think, has give this side so much bounce and so much vigor, where I think they've bounced off each other very, very well. So I think all in all, I was wrong to go too hard in the preparation stuff. But like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I never had a problem about them going back for this one, because I think it is very, very important to get away, recharge, and come back for what is 2 grueling test matches. I've played in Rajkot, played in Ranchi. They're 2 different places. They're not Visakhapatnam on the coast. They're not the big city of Hyderabad. They're going to be different challenges when they go there for that 2.5-week period of this tour.